Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pillar to Post. I am Rashaun, Alleyne, and I'm joined as always by Kobia, Hamblin. And before we jump into anything, I just want to say again our apologies for not delivering a preview and recap show for last race day, the Barbados Thoroughbred Breeders Association race day, where Ariel impressively won the juvenile, and Nostradamus did what she did in the classic, and Rashid, he was just dominating on his return to the country. But we're looking to end the season strong, and we're going to preview the Christmas season race day. And Kobia, we have looking to end the season strong with some new aspirations.
What an interesting choice of words. Hi, everyone. It's always lovely to be back. Rashaun, as you would have mentioned last race day, we did see the return of Nostradamus, who is proving or has proven now that she's not just good with her age group, she's good with all Creoles. Dominating from, well, as we say best, from pillar to post. We also saw the introduction, lack of a better term, introduction of the 2-year-old classics, may I say, with the BTBA Juvenile, and Ariel won in convincing fashion. And Rashid Hughes came out of nowhere and reminded us who he is.
No, yeah, he definitely reminded us, if anyone forgot. But last race day was definitely one for the books, probably one of the best for the third season that we're going to see. But we're going to jump into the Christmas season race. Then we're going to kick it off in race number 1, where the West Indian bred 2-year-old maidens are going to go 1,100 meters in the Happy Holidays handicap. And Kobe, it feels like Oya's Princess and Atara are the two experienced ones, and it feels like if neither of these win in this spot, when will it ever be the time?
You know, I do agree with you, Rashaun. I think Curlin Felician has to be feeling the butterflies because everything is expected from both of his charges. Actually, I have them to run 1-2. I chose Atara over Oya's Princess simply because Atara, 2 starts back, she bumped into the rails her last 7.8, unfortunately. But 2 starts back, she would have sprinted with the likes of the same Ariel, who won the BTBA Juvenile, Ultrasound, who was another runner-up, as well as Aspire, who's also in this first race. But in my opinion, Atara, had one of the better races out of these. And I think now that she's going back into maiden company, which is quote unquote a step up or a step down rather in class, she should be dismissing this field very easily. Oya's Princess showed, in my opinion, to me, that she wants a little bit longer. She had an unfortunate circumstance in her last start. Atara is my winner here. Stablemate, Oya's Princess will be second, in my opinion, Rashaun.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that out of this race behind Ultrasound and ahead of Ariel, stepping back into maiden company, she is the one you want. And that's what happened in her last start. I picked her when she stretched up to 1570. And you also alluded to the fact that her trip was very unfortunate. I thought the rider could have taken a little bit more initiative and pick up the race, because if you watch the head-on, she had the space on the inside to take over the race. But then something just goes amiss and she runs into the rail. Like, no one made her shy away from anything, but horses are just such a peculiar species.
Horses.
Yeah, and from there she loses all chance. But I'm going to take Oya's Princess just because I think Oya's Princess is a horse that I can trust. I disagree with you on the fact that I think she wants to go further. Again, she's gone 7.8 once. I don't think she stayed. She outlasted Relentless, and then was outfinished by Copper Shot. But I think cutting back here, she could get a trip that will be beneficial to her, drawn closer to the inside. Aspire to her inside is going to go, and Twinkle Toes. So sitting behind those two, if it sets up like that, I think Oya's Princess is going to be very dangerous. I have Flying Jenny to split these two. I've heard some good reports about Flying Jenny. And then you have the Rashid Hughes, Andrew Nunes pair with a juvenile. That seems like a dangerous trainer-rider combo. And then Aspire, of the two of the speed, I think second time out, she should be a lot better. Hopefully not bolting. And she's going to round up my top 4.
Well, you did mention Aspire, and this particular horse tops out my best bet of the day. 832 Atara, Oya's Princess, Aspire. And the reason I chose Aspire is because if she's able to overcome her previous issues as it relates to her bolting at the top of the stretch, I think she's at least good enough to run third. I think it's going to take a lot of running to beat Oya's Princess and Atara, who should be coming to the line together, if you ask me. But my best bet is going to be 832 trifecta box. I put it at $5 and I keep my fingers crossed.
Yeah, I I just don't know if I want to trust these. I like the horses in this spot, but it's going to be very competitive to start. But I think really and truly, it's Oyas Princess and Atara, and then everybody else, which you have, and you think everybody else might be led by Aspire, and that's an easy trifecta box. So I wish you the best with that. And moving on to race number 2, one that might seem a little easier on paper, and that is the Jingle Bells handicap for the 100 and lower, going 1,800 meters. And this is where we see the sparingly raced Princess Aruna make her return. And we're not going to try to get clever here at all. It's Princess Aruna's race to lose.
I do agree. When I look at this race from top to bottom, it's open book, case closed, Princess Aruna. Since she's came to Barbados, she's been second in the Tanglewood. Unfortunately, she was tossed out. But since then, if memory serves me correct, Rashaun, this horse has not been beaten since. She is amazing in her own regard.
No, this horse has really come to Barbados and made her presence felt. She was a top-notch mare in Trinidad, and she's doing the same things here. I know she's leading into the Tanglewood of 2026. In my opinion, even better form. I'm not opposed to her off the bench again. I'm not opposed to her taking 128 pounds. I just think she's better than these. Again. And they're horses who probably are better at 9 furlongs. They're probably, grateful that they're not taking 128 pounds. But I just think they're running into a juggernaut in Princess Aruna. And then it leaves you to figure out who you want underneath. And this race is obviously carded for a week ago, and Undisputed was out of it. He's in now, so it offers exacta betting. I think Capro Cat is the one you want underneath Princess Aruna. I think Rashid Hughes is going to get a little bit of the Jalon Samuel effect, where whatever he's writing, it's going to get bet.
Turns into gold.
Exactly, but he's going to be writing live shots. And I think Capro Cat, after that 4th behind Nostradamus in the Classic, and now at 114 pounds, should be the one that should round out the exacta behind Princess Aruna. You don't see it that way, but I think just back class and this weight, Capro Cat's the next one.
No, I quite don't see it that way. I'm not sure what Kadeem Mohammed's body weight is, but if he can do 98 pounds on Heroes Day, I think this horse is in with a golden shot. Now, on paper, he isn't rated as high as the others, but does he really know that? Right. Since being acquired by the Richard Dean team, he has been on the upscale, and he has been answering every question with flying colors. And I think this is just going to be another box to tick on the road to the Tanglewood next year. I think he stands a very live shot, especially at the weight cut. Giving Princess Aruna, giving Heroes Day, what is that, about 30 pounds, is simply crazy to me. And I cannot ignore Heroes Day, especially the way he's been running recently. Capro Cat, I do respect, but I'm going to take a gamble and go. I feel better going with Heroes Day.
I mean, in a field this small, a horse that's doing that well, and in that perfect world that he gets 98 pounds, why not? I just think Capro Cat is a better animal, but Heroes Day is trending up. But again, Princess Aruna and then everybody else. We're going to move on to race number 3. It's the Happy Holidays handicap, and this is for the 70s and lower, going 1,100 meters. And to be honest, I'm really disappointed that Bahari Cove is in this spot and not the Sprint Cup. He decides.
I very much so agree. I'm actually more so surprised.
No, yeah, I'm surprised this morning. All the emotions that are not positive at the fact that he's in here, but again, not mine. So they choose to come in here, and I still think he has a shot to win. I'm going to pick him. So he's going to run against the defending champion of the Sprint Cup in Lovely, and I think it's really a lot between these two. But Bahari Cove is just a hard knocking animal. Like his last start behind Dr. B in life is great. He split them. Bahari Cove came from nowhere, and you see like where the replay starts, where they're together about to take over the lead, and Bahari Cove is still about 6 to 7 lengths behind. And you could not convince me at this point. I was calling the race that he was going to be on the board, let alone getting Life is Great for second.
Yeah, I do agree with you. This is actually why I have him over Life is Great. I think the mere fact Life is Great given about 6 lengths with 3.5 furlongs to go, and Bahari Cove pegged him back with every stride. And I do remember what you're talking about, Rashaun, with about 3.5, as I said, to go. I would have heard you say, and Bahari Cove is last, and he's going to take a lot of riding to get into this race. And I was amazed that at the top of the stretch, who's this in the white silks coming? And it's Bahari Cove. This horse has a massive, massive heart. And I do think with a cleaner trip and with the jockey upgrade, Rashid Hughes, I can close my eyes and Bahari Cove is my winner of race number 3. On top of that, though, I did stick with Life is Great because if I take out Dr. B and I look at the rest of the field, let's be real. Second place really is between, for me at least, Lovely and Life is Great. I could be wrong. I could have it in the wrong order, but again, this is my trifecta 6, 8, and 2. Sorry. My 4th place, I'm not too confident in, but Bahari Cove, without a doubt, is a lock in my opinion.
Yeah, I think he's a lock as well. Again, we might be drinking the Rashid Hughes juice as we talked about, but the horse
As
is
he goes to
just
the championship.
yeah, the horse is just good. Lovely will probably get a good trip with the presence of Jericho and Northern Lady. They scratch Magnificent, but that's some pace coming out. Kendar's Lady definitely coming from across. I just think we have the same 3 horses for the try, just a different order, and that's a matter of trip. Dr. B was never beating Bahari Cove, but a trip last time out, and he was able to beat Bahari Cove. So you never know how it may end up.
This horse
And
racing,
just
anything can happen.
yeah, and then there's Pussycat for me to round it out. Again, hopefully some speed it comes back to her. And cutting back, she won her first start a very long time ago at 1100 meters. So getting back to this trip after some time, I think a fresh filly like this with some back class would probably come running late. And maybe knows if she's doing well, might even split the trifecta that we have. But it really is Bahari Cole's race to lose for us.
Your exact opinion on Pussycat is how I feel about Binary Code. But what I find about Binary Code is he needs to be restrained, as I would have mentioned before, and be able to give his full effort with 3 to go instead of tearing down the place sprinting from early. Let's see if Aaron Daniel is able to do that. I've seen 1, maybe 2 jockeys be successful with him. He seems like a pretty tricky horse to ride, but once you ride it, does get it perfect. Chef's kiss.
Yeah,
he's coming flying at the end.
Yeah, I don't know about Chef's Kiss. Probably going to have to throw that recipe away because he's a little outclassed to me. But we'll see. Again, it's a horse race, and I just don't like him in this spot. But Bahari Cove really will take some beating. And we're going to move on to race number 4. And Kobia, you can take us into it.
The Christmas Chair Handicap. 3-year-olds and older rated 35 to 15, going 5.5 furlongs. And Rashaun, you're probably very, very tired hearing me mention this horse. But my winner is horse number 1, Thunder Lady, Speed to Burn, coming from the rails. And amazingly enough, I feel like she always draws 1, though. I feel like she's always on the rails. But she is partnered again with Ricky Walker. Last week, I didn't have her because we figured outside is going to be soft, but now it's firm. My picks have completely changed, and I'm sticking to her. On the flip side, though, we do share horse number 7 on our second line, Intuition. And I think Intuition's sheer ability to sit down behind a pace setter and be able to switch out at the top of the stretch and come with an effort will get him into second, but I don't think he's going to be fast enough to catch the likes of Thunder Lady.
Yeah, I, as per usual, don't want Thunder Lady. I think, though, this is one of the races where she does have a pretty strong shot. But I'm going to take Rush on top, horse number 9. Coming out of a race, a couple starts back behind Intuition. And I respect Intuition. I have him second. And I think Rush is just doing so well right now. And it's weird for me. It's one of like the rules of my betting, I guess, that in a spot like this, I wouldn't want a maiden. But I think Rush is just doing as well as anyone, just with no
going against all laws of horse racing and gambling.
But if you look in this replay, first off, you mentioned Intuition is probably going to get a really good trip behind Thunder Lady. Delano Lopez has one job, and that's to make sure you get out of the gates and get positioning. And then if you're good enough, you will be competitive. And that's what you saw in this race. But if you take a look at where Rush is in this spot, and Rush came from dead last and got up. This was 5 starts ago for Rush. And since then, Rush has done it all from sprinting to 9 furlongs and been competitive. But as I was saying, coming from dead last in this spot, coming wide with 128 pounds under Jarrell Beckles, to rally and get up to finish 4th from nowhere, I think is very impressive. Now, with the claim of 7 pounds to maybe 116. The weight is completely flipped now, receiving weight from Intuition and others. This horse is informed, maybe consider a little closer. But hopefully your pick, Thunder Lady, lights it up and Rush can finally get that maiden broken for Richard Dean. And then I'm going to take Rare Nickel, who I think has some back class, and then Lady Jane, who bred really well, can close, just good enough to round out the top 4.
I do share your sentiments with Lady Jane, but I don't have your third place horse, Rare Nickel. I switched my bet up actually to another maiden in Mo Farah. Mo Farah would have ran 8th his last effort out. I don't think he's too good off the bench, but he has shown he does have some ability. He's not the most talented horse in the world, but he does have his heart in the right place. And Mo Farah, I think now I guess I can call him race fit. Should be able to go better than previously before, but that's all left to be seen. But Thunder Lady, you're not going to catch her regardless. We're going to take a step. Sorry, continue.
No, I was just going to interject really quickly with my best bet that's going to completely fade Thunder Lady. And it has to be bet in this spot, and it's the Rolling Daily Double, race 4 and 5. So in this leg, I'm going to go 7, 9, and 11, Intuition, Rush, and Rare Nickel. And then race 5, which we're going to get into, I'm going to go 6, 11, 12, and 14. Sunbeam, Mystique, Charisma, and Tinker Bell. So that's my best bet, played at a $1 state, $12. But we can move into race number 5 in the Mrs. Claus handicap. I love this race. I think I love to see competitive races on paper where people can make a case for anyone. And that's what we get here in the Mrs. Claus handicap, race number 5 for the 3-year-olds and older non-winners of 2. I'm going to go again in this condition. I just did it with Rush. A non-winners of 2, I'm going to pick a maiden. I'm going to go with number 12. Yeah, we're going to go with number 12, Charisma. And I think last time out, her connections probably learned a lot about her. She came out of the Derby. She was the talk of the town after being entered off one race. She didn't win it. She went into our biggest 3-year-old race and ran respectable, you know. She came out of that, took a break by plan. That's what her trainer told us. But then did something so uncharacteristic off the bench. Now, again, that break may have made her super fresh. But as I said, I think her connections learned something about her here where she broke and she's on top. And then Wonderwall, who came out of this spot to win, takes over the lead. And then Charisma just gets so strong-headed and into the bit and races so strongly, and she just re-engages with Wonderwall. Now maybe this happening, they're going to be a bit more aware of this and maybe not have her as fresh, maybe not have her as keen. And then with the jockey upgrade with Rashid Hughes, I think Charisma could be very dangerous. Now, she lost this race to Sunbeam, who she reopposes, and Sunbeam won with 128 pounds. Now Sunbeam's going to get a claim and take 120. I understand how hard it would be to turn those tables, and Sunbeam to me is the horse to beat. And this is a horse I was going to go against last time when it was wet, but if it's not as firm, I think she could be a little vulnerable. But Charisma will give me some value in the face of a hot favorite. I think that Sunbeam will be.
And I do agree with you thinking that Sunbeam is going to be the favorite, but I have to find a horse to beat her, especially considering the weight to go to post. As much as there is an apprentice claim, I still think that's a bit heavy. I went with horse number 4, Heidi Marie. Now, when I reflect on Heidi Marie, especially from her last start, Heidi Marie got in a world of trouble. Rashid Hughes looked like he had a ton of horse under him and simply had nowhere to go. And he was in trouble from the 2-furlong pole. Even when he got a chance to sniff outside, the door was shut immediately as soon as he stuck through his nose. And this horse had a rough way home. And I think if she got out, she should have ran at Heroes Day. I can't say she would have won, but considering that this was an open class and we're looking at Heroes Day, who in my opinion should be going towards the Tanglewood, this is almost a step down in class. You know, we're going back to non-winners of 2 now. And I think Heidi Marie should have a far easier trip. Now, my only concern is the fact that Rashid Hughes is not riding this horse. So it seems
that
like
was going to be my question.
I don't know what.
Yeah, that was going to be my question to you. How confident you are now that Rashid Hughes, who's ridden like 3 of these in their last starts, is on Charisma and not Heidi Marie. Also, it's not going to be as wet as it was going to be last week.
Yeah, all things considered, I also did think of maybe the trainer wanted to take a claim, maybe the trainer just wanted to take off some weight, maybe Rashi Hughes thinks charisma is a better right in the race. There's so many variables that I simply can't answer, but I've made a decision based on what I've seen. I'm sticking to it, and Heidi Marie is my winner to beat Sunbeam in this non-winners of two race.
Yeah, and then I think just Mystique, we both have her, we respect her. She was like Sunbeam, one of the 3-year-olds that just knocking on the door and would not win for the life of her.
Yeah,
And then last
consistently knocking, but no one's home, huh?
exactly, right? So but last time she blew the doors off a solid maiden field and then just went missing right before the Derby. I think people might forget about her. Well, we haven't, so maybe not. But she's good. And if she's going to fire her best shot off the bench, and maybe she's matured a little bit, she will be dangerous. Then Tinkerbell with that fourth last time out, that's a very underrated fourth. And then number 4, Heidi Marie. I see the trouble that Heidi Marie had last time, and I just think there are a lot of variables that contribute to when Heidi Marie runs well. And I want to also point out that in Charisma's second start, she stepped up in the Derby and beat Heidi Marie. So I just think she's a better filly. So Heidi Marie is going to round up my high 5 for me.
Fair enough, Rashaun. On the flip side of things, I went with the Grey Horse Detente from Hopefield Stables. That's my fourth place. I did share your winner in Charisma, but I do have her on my fourth line. And I put Mystique on my fifth line. So she still is in my top 5, but I don't see her running much better than fifth. We're going to move on to the Christmas handicap, the Sprint Cup. West Indian bred 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds only. Now we're sprinting 5.5 furlongs. And, Rashaun, I see a very unfamiliar face here sprinting. Horse number 5, Valiant. I don't think I've ever seen this horse sprint.
Yeah, he hasn't sprinted before, and he's going to be my top pick. I don't have a replay to show, but
That's
we know who Valiant we know who Valiant is. And 2 starts back, Valiant did something as we talked about in the recap show for that. Bolting, going to the outside rail, re-engaging and winning. And I've never seen that. And then he came at 9 furlongs, and I just knew he was going to be overbet with the hype that he has and that performance. And he was beaten. He was 4th. Then he entered in a race behind that Bahari Kova and Dr. B were in, and he scratched out that. It was a sprint.
correct.
And it was I was very excited to see him in that spot because cutting back, this is a horse who, as much as they talk about Derby and Tanglewood and all that fun stuff, he has not shown me yet that he wants to stay. And I like the cutback here with Rashid Hughes. Again, this is probably like the 700th Rashid Hughes horse I've picked on the day. But I think this jockey
Is a
upgrade,
Rashid Hughes show.
no, it clearly is for me. And then I think like this cutback, this is a horse that might want to sprint. Not that he wouldn't be able to do good things at a mile and further, but this is a horse that I'm very interested to see cutting back, especially in the face of a horse like Dr. B, who got good out of not nowhere, but just doing really well right now, is going to be heavily bet. And I just want to take something else, and I'm going to go with Valiant. But you're going to go with the chalk train on Dr. B.
Yeah, I'm looking for my 4th win on a trot. I did choose Dr. B simply because this is the informed sprinter, emphasis on sprinter. I am choosing the horse who's accustomed running in these spots. Valiant, I am excited to see sprint, but I simply can't put a horse that's going after 4 behind a horse that has never won sprinting. I'm not saying it's impossible, but logically in my mind, it's not happening. Dr. B here seen running against the 65s and lowers and beating the likes of Jericho, Leah, Life is Great, even Bahari Cove, who I would have liked to see in this race, and dismissing these with confidence. How am I supposed to pick anyone else? On my second line, as I said, I did go with Valiant just to see how good he is. I don't see a full field of sprinters per se. Delicious Angels second in her derby. Invictus, who seems to like it maybe a bit longer. Simmer Down, who is coming back from, I'm assuming, an injury. An Emperor, who we haven't seen since the BTBA sprint. On my third line, I am choosing Showtime. Showtime is the speedball in here, but she's lacking a bit of form. She's coming back from an injury. It's left to be seen if she's a Showtime that we remember. But I know this is Dr. B that I remember, and I'm sticking with him.
Yeah, you talk about logic, and obviously logically, this horse is the one to beat that Dr. B. Horses don't really know logic, so I'm going to take a shot. But obviously, Dr. B is going to be one of the likeliest winners on the card, and I'm going to take Delicia's Angel. I think she's a closing sprinter. Yes, she's classic place and she's done a lot stretching out. But I think
Mhm.
this is what she wants to do best. And her closing sprints
You
have been
reckon the
good in her
pace is going to
last.
come back to her?
I don't necessarily think it has to come back in this spot because it's not going to be super fast. Simmerdown's fast, Showtime, and Emperor, but I think she's good enough to come get them because she does have that turn of foot when she's sprinting. So I think Delicia's Angel is one that could offer some value and is well weighted, well drawn, so it could save some ground on the inside. And I think Delicia's Angel, it could be a really sneaky horse in the Christmas handicap. And then the final race is race number 7. It's the season's greetings for the 140 and lower, going 1100 meters. And we got 4 of them to sign up. I know a lot of people were nervous last week when entries first came out about horse
Let
number
me
2,
tell you, brother,
Nostradamus.
News had a brilliant shot in this race.
Yeah, true with the water, but I'm talking about the fact that Nostradamus was entered. And I know a
Oh,
lot of people
yeah.
were nervous.
That was
And
crazy. I didn't expect to see her name at all.
yeah, a lot of keyboard trainers about what should and should not be done. So I guess people are very content to see that she is scratched. But her stablemate, Caspian Sea, we are not trying to fool anyone here. If Caspian Sea loses, this sequence for the daily double and the pick 4 is probably going to be lost. And I think Caspian Sea, he won his debut here in Barbados, and he's just towers over this field.
Yeah, Caspian Sea, who, well, from his line, isn't known to or shouldn't be able to sprint. But horses don't know their parents. Horses don't know their lineage. Horses don't know their history. They know to run. And he likes to run fast and short. And he's proven, I am at least the best in this class in this regard. So I don't care if Major Dan is giving him 25 or 35 pounds. I don't think he's going to be beating or catching Caspian Sea in this lifetime, nor the next. Brilliant News, who I believe needs a bit of a cut to enjoy the going. He needs a little bit of a cushion under his foot. He's not going to get what he wants. It's been sun out all week, and I expect to have a fast track, and I expect Caspian Sea to take full advantage of that.
Now, I just would love to see Sir Jimmy turn the clock. Like, these are races that Sir Jimmy 2 years ago makes it sneakily competitive, where he randomly upsets Dominus and Zico and stuff like that. But apart from the 2 Hopefield horses who will be behind Caspian Sea, I don't mind the 130 pounds. They're going to have to catch Caspian Sea. I don't think it's going to prove an issue. If it were wet, it brings Brilliant News. It upgrades him definitely. Major Dan is going to thoroughly enjoy the 105. Also, does Major Dan want to beat a horse rated 114 and 120 when you're struggling with Anissa, who's not rated this high? Like, do you want to win this race? So again, a lot of things that I just really think is Caspian Sea and then the others. So it's going to be interesting. I don't even know how interesting it's going to be because we both have Caspian Sea and everyone is probably going to pick Caspian Sea.
Yeah, this is probably my 3rd lock of the day, and I am super duper confident in him. Caspian Sea, who I suppose will be pointing towards the Spa. That is one of the races I'm looking forward to next year. But you know what, Rashaun? Let's see how things go.
It's going to be a very interesting day, and Caspian Sea might be the easiest winner to end the card. But that was our preview for the Christmas season race day, rather. Again, thank you so much for tuning into Pillar to Post. As always, we appreciate your support. Please like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook and on X. And as always, all your tickets be winning ones.